might be an audio issue. I think I just resolved that. So I think we're fine. We're good to go. For anybody that has not had a chance to catch up yet, it's episode 117 featuring Danny Miami of the GameOn Sports Podcast for everybody. And we've been talking about catching up the entire time. Thank you, everybody, for joining up. I was supposed to bring up the chat as well, so let me go ahead and bring up the chat menu. Danny, I'm going to show you this program later. It thankfully brings up a chat from all the websites that you're live on in one place, which is great. So we can get to hang out with everybody. Anyway. So where were we, man? We were talking about bandanas and caps. Yeah, dude, we used to have to sneak around bandanas because it became like a color banging kind of thing where the parents were like, we don't know about this. We're like, guys, that was the early 90s. Like Tupac is, Tupac is long gone these days, guys. It's not that serious these days. Yeah,
but you're right. My parents were really strict. They while the other kids got to kick it and do all these calls at late at night, because that's what you did, man. On summer nights when you had a curfews and you had to be home as a teenager, the phone was it, man. Like that was the social meeting. Like after you got home, it's like, oh, I'll call you, and then it's like you call him, he three-ways him. Some of you were even had rich families and had caller ID. My family never wanted it. They're like, oh, why do I need to know who's calling? I say hello, and they tell me who it is. I don't need to pay for nothing else. And you're there like, God, Mom, seriously? Fuck.
Like, remember that, dude? Caller ID, star 67, star 69? Figuring out who tried to call you.
Yeah. My parents stopped asking me about it because it's like every time they're like, did you use, bro? If you see star 67, star 69, and you got a teenager in your house in the early 2000s, bro, yes, the fuck, it's me. It's me. Don't ask. Just put it on my bill. Put it on my allowance. Take it off, whatever.
That's so funny. It would show up on the bill?
Yeah. So
I did not know that.
It would charge you like a little fee or something every time you used it.
Damn, my dad must have been paying out the ass, wondering what the fuck was going on. Because my dad must have been like, "What the hell? What do I got? I got a hacker for a son? What is my son hacking shit? What is he? What are you calling fucking North Korea? What the fuck is going on?"
It's crazy that you brought up the story of this girl because like I don't remember that at all. I don't remember the breakup letters that I would get saying I sacrificed so much. It's like, bro, we're 14. What the fuck are you sacrificing? Like
it was amazing. You sacrifice what? Telling your mom to drop you off?
I would text you from my mom's account, and because I would, you're 14, your parents are the real owners of the cell phone, right? And all you could do, you would send a text. It would be 10 cents a text, and then it's like I would send you so many, and for you to be not. It's like, bro,
dude, we grew up. Thankfully, we grew up in a great time, man. We grew up in a great time where Akon was on the radio day and night.
Oh my God.
Lil Jon was on the radio day and night. You couldn't escape it.
Gosh.
Sean Paul was everywhere.
Here's what's funny. All this boomed like after you and I pretty much because there was a certain era where I went to New Orleans School of the Arts. I went to that fancy Archie Smarchie school, and once I hit that, I think I don't remember, man. I think it was during my high school days. I don't remember, dude. How old were we? How old were you when we were doing this? I need to find.
You were in high school and we were in middle school. That's why all the chicks liked you because they were like, "Ooh, he's a high schooler."
Just that free seniority, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and meanwhile, me in my high school, I was the peewee in my high school. So I'd go to school like this, like, "Hi guys." I'd be like the short, ugly motherfucker that everybody made fun of. And then, of course, when I got out of high school and kicked it with you guys were like, "Oh, look at Mr. Freshie." That's all it was. That free seniority you get, like that social status you acquire as a high school kid. That's real weird, man. What a weird fucking time, bro.
These weird social classes that children kind of put among themselves. Hey, sorry, my cat is just going nuts on the lovely Claudia. But the cat threw up earlier. Me and Danny were setting up the podcast. I'm rushing around, and then the cat just throws up. It was like, you can't write that type of comedy. It was amazing. Man, so we grew up in a time where all these things were extremely popular. Metro PCS just came out. It's the big time phone company that you might have heard of these days. They had just come out. Everybody hated them. Everybody called it Metro piece of shit, which some of them still do, even though they're just T-Mobile now. And it was such a good time, man. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because I don't know how to say it was such a great unplugged time where you still had to buy these CDs. I remember you and your sister, which is how I met you because your sister was in one of my classes. Shout out to your sister. I don't know if she wants me to say her name on the stream. So yeah, but yes, shout out to Carmen. Thank you for letting me meet this awesome dude, and we became friends. And now it's been 10+ years, and we're still hanging out. And now we're podcasting together, dude. We used to talk on the phone all the time.
15. I did the math just now.
15. Oh my God, dude. That's how you know I'm getting old. When 10 turns into 15 and you don't realize it.
Bro, it's 15. Sorry.
I love it, man. Man, so back in the day, man, tell me a little bit about this piano, because you're somebody that really inspired me to bust my ass in music as well, dude. Because I used to hear you play the piano. You had a Fender Strat. I used to hear you play "Smells Like Teen Spirit."
That's all I fucking knew, dude. Everything else was trash. Everything else was trash. I bought a guitar and an amp just to play the first 10 seconds of Team Spirit looped. It was a hip-hop loop, if anything. It wasn't even a fucking riff. It was a loop. I sucked. But it sounded so cool to hit that sound, and you're again a teenager. You want to sound cool. Like an electric guitar does it so fast. So the piano, it was really simple. At the age of 5, or 4, my dad was huge into classical music, and he would play a lot of it. And I will say this, just like anything in life, if you're exposed to it as an early age, like just the other day, I saw one of Michael Phelps' kids or one of his little family
his
members. His offspring, someone related to him, 9 months old, 16, something like that, like a year and change, and this little fucking baby swimming the pool.
Whoa!
Exposure. I'm serious. The baby would jump in. It's like it looks weird because you're like, that baby's about to drown. It's a really small child, really small.
And then the fucking baby starts like doing the breaststroke. It's
no,
amazing.
I'm serious. Yeah, faster than us put together. And it's what I'm saying. Exposure is a big deal. So I was exposed, and I had a really big upper hand in that. There was this Santa Claus keyboard. His teeth were the keys. You know what I'm saying?
90s, 2000s. I love it. The 90s.
A little ping that would light up. So what I would do is I started to realize that I could listen enough and I could just hit enough notes, trial and error, until I figured out, oh, okay, this note's here. And then I figured out, okay, the higher notes are this way, the lower notes are that way. And then after a while, I would try to mimic what I was listening to. My parents walked by the room. They're like, holy crap. Like, he's trying to mimic this. And then they asked me, they straight up, this is how easy it was. They went, you like piano? Fucking 4 or 5-year-old kid. I went, yeah, that was it. They put me in this keyboard class. I hated having to keep up with a bunch of fucking other shitty little school kids. And here's the thing: I would go home and I would do other things. I would try to play like really much cooler sounding shit. They were teaching me C, D, E. I was trying to do chords and shit just because I was so anxious. I wasn't good. I was just anxious. It sounded like shit, but I was hitting. They told me hit only these 2 buttons. I was hitting 5. They told my parents, hey, the ambition is there for him, which it's gone. It's long gone. But they said, hey, the ambition's there for him. I think you need to get him like a private teacher. And we went along with that, and the rest is history, bro. Then I walked into straight up like a strict piano teacher, and amazing. She's actually someone that I haven't talked to in many years, but I wish I could, man. She actually was like another extension of my parents to me. So.
Wow. What's her name? So that if anybody wants piano lessons, they can get them.
I think she's retired. Her name is Velia Yedra. She was Velia Yedra with a Yedra. She was amazing.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I haven't talked to her in years. I don't think she's doing that anymore. She was actually a counsel in West Miami. Like she held office. Like that.
Whoa, that's epic. Man, piano, dude, and it was such a beautiful thing. I remember because I didn't have a piano to work with, so when I used to hear you on the phone, this is back in the day also when you wanted to show your friends music, you would have to put the phone up to the speaker and show the
you don't do that anymore?
Right. Like that's all we had at that time. We couldn't just send links to each other. Well, I guess you could on AIM, but anyway, the internet was a different place. And that piano, man, I just loved it because I remember at that time John Legend was a really big deal. He had just come out as well, and I know you guys were jamming some John Legend at the
yes, man.
At the household.
Oh my God, yes. You're like hitting all these memories. Has that ever happened to you where like somebody says something and triggers a memory that you're like, oh my God, if it wasn't for this moment, that memory would have just been lost?
Yeah. Well, you know what it was? It was Carmen that really opened my eyes to that, because Carmen would come to school and she was talking about John Legend, and this is when he just came out with Ordinary People. He came out with that video, and it was a very touching song, and we weren't used to that because, like we mentioned a couple of minutes ago, we were so surrounded by this fucking pit bull and Lil Jon everywhere. And John Legend was a breath of fresh air at that time when he came out with, I think it was called Get Lifted was the album.
Yeah.
Or Let's Get Lifted, whatever it was. And it was just great, man. I just remember hearing that and thinking, like, this is mature music. I like this. Like thinking like, wow, like it's just a guy on his piano. And these lyrics were, I don't know, man. And it made me, talking to, go ahead.
No, I'm saying I'm glad that it did that for you. By the way, Ordinary People came out in 2004.
Oh, wow.
We knew each other then, so I think it's 16 years. I think by the end of the podcast, we're going to realize it's 20 years or something.
We're just 80 years old now. We're just like...
Fuck, hey, we aged so much in this episode.
Yeah. By the end of the episode, all gray hairs. Like, dude, I got these gray hairs coming in. I don't understand, dude. My body's playing pranks on me, dude. They're playing pranks. I had a gray nipple hair the other day. I was so pissed off. I was like, God damn it! I was like, oh, this is like a joke. This was like life trolling me,
Oh, that fucking. Are you seeing this shit? Are you seeing this shit,
dude? The day I find a ghost pube, find me at the bottom of a cliff, dude. Find me at the bottom of the cliff. I'm telling you, brother. The day that happens.
So you then I remember you when I would play the piano, you'd be like, "Oh, check out." I remember you like learning guitar and technically there's no such thing as self-taught. Technically, you always have a source that teaches you. So let's not get philosophical. But in terms of like somebody who I remember just messing with it every day, not having real instruction, that I remember you going really fast. Like you skyrocketed past the learning curve really fast. You were playing a lot of technical shit, not just like the
thanks, man.
cool shit. And I was always like, wow, Alizar, you know, considering you have no lessons, like you make me, you know, I was like, wow, that's incredible. I'm as decent as I am with fucking 12 years of dedication and practicing and strict parents, like we keep touching on. You know, my parents were horrible. They would actually look at the time when I started practicing. And if I didn't do the time that the piano teacher said, bro, yardstick, bro. I'm telling you, it was bad. But you know, it's thanks to that. It's thanks to that I learned, just to be honest.
And shout out to your parents for being that disciplined with it. But I think that in a way, I think they might have had some sort of reverse effect in a way, which can happen easily. It can happen because I mean, music is music is a weird beast, man. You know, music is something that's supposed to be very expressive, and usually the moment that you become obsessed with it is the moment that you also fall in love with it. You know, it becomes a thing, and then once you, it's tough, man. Like that's why I had opportunities to go to New World as well. You know, I had like so many people pushing me like go to New World at the time, and I didn't go because I didn't want to end up in a place where I'd have to compete doing what I love. Like that concept always bugged me. And once I found out what these like soul surfers were, like I realized what a soul surfer is because we watched Johnny Tsunami, and these people that just don't compete, and I was like, I like that. I was like, to be the dopest one that doesn't want any other recognition. That's, I mean, it's like maybe the life of the poor man, but at the same time, it's, I don't know. There was something so attractive to about that to me, and I just, you know,
something for humbleness. Go ahead. No, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, please. I need to get another beer anyway. Please.
Yeah, get another beer. But I was going to tell you that you know, something to humble you is that if I'm not just being humble here, this is 100% truth. I was actually the worst by far at New World. I was absolute shit compared to the Asian and the Russian and all the other kids that are traditionally very good. I was the guy who showed up with the bandanas. You know? I was the fucking like I was the you know. And here's the thing, I'm a nerdy dude. That being said, I was the most badass, like in that sense. I would dress the coolest, which by the way, absolute ass. Like I look back on that, I'm like, yikes, that's a scary individual, and I would have never been friends with him. But I thought it was cool. I had a chain, I had the bandana with the cap, and I had the rings. And
the tank top was your look, dude. The tank top. You wore a tank top every time I saw you. It was a white tank top.
Bro, I just, you know, it was also on a point in my life where I was working out a lot. You know, at that age, you know, you're just everything you do is a flex. You know, at that age, that 14, 15-year-old boy flex, bro, that shit's awkward as fuck.
It was awesome.
Like, I would have, I wish, you know, but here's the thing, I learned from it. You know, I learned that it's not me. I was like, ooh, yikes. I even got my ears pierced. Shit, nobody knows that, but I had, you know, and it was so little because I put it on. I realized, man, this piercing shit's not for me. I got rid of it quick. You know, hole closed.
I got one.
No, but I'm saying no, it's fine. I'm not just saying ear piercing. It's playing for me. Like,
oh no. My dad fucking made fun of me for it like crazy. My dad called me like darling or something stupid when he saw it. He was like nice earring, darling. I was like, thanks, sweetie. And yeah, then we had a weird moment where I was kind of like, fuck you, dude. It was really weird. It was at the dinner table. Killed the whole food. Killed the mood for the food.
You're a mess, man. But yeah, like I was gonna say, quick, dude, I have so many thoughts that I want to kind of tell you. But like honestly, it wasn't a competition for music stuff. It was actually the only thing I competed in was just the audition process. They would just audition you to see where your skills were at, and if it's somewhere they wanted you in, like, oh, we like your style, we like how you do things, they take you in, and then from there you don't compete. It's not like, oh, if you're not #1 violinist in the orchestra, we're gonna kick you out. No, it's more like as long as they saw that you were making an honest attempt to keep improving, which is just a natural course every student takes if they dedicate themselves. And the reality is that 99.999% of kids who went to the school, even if they weren't the best, all of them stayed. All of them, you know, it was just a matter of improving yourself, and that's the journey I was on. I was the worst my first year all the way to the last. I was never the best pianist in there by far, but everyone noticed one. They're like, dude, you are such a different pianist since you walked in and when you walked out, and that meant the most to me. I didn't have to be like, oh, once I walked in, dude, let's be real, we all have that voice in our minds, and when you walk in and you see that Asian kid, you're like, oh, okay, hell no, I can't, I'm never gonna beat that guy. Like, I'm like, hey, how often did you practice? Like, oh, on the weekend or on the weekday. And I'm like, and then they go, wait, never mind. I practice every day.
That's all the days. That's all the days.
and you know,
that's not politically correct these days. I hate that. I love the accents. Come on.
Dude, yeah, I hate the fact that if somebody
accents have become racist.
I have an accent. You have a fucking accent. Everyone has an accent. Some are
more
noticeable than others. And if we pretend to ignore them, I think we're pretending to ignore our very culture. And I mean no hate by it.
No, an American accent is an American accent.
Yes, like, I live in the Midwest now, by the way. I live in Indiana, so...
Indiana? Dude, no way. You remember, I don't know if you remember my buddy Jose.
Nope.
Well, he was my best buddy at that time as well, and he remembers you. He lives in Indiana as well.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he's an engineer. He's an engineer over there these days. So yeah, maybe you guys can hang out.
Notre Dame? Is he by Notre Dame? Do you know?
I don't know. He works for Johnson & Johnson. I don't know if you know where Johnson & Johnson is, but he works there.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so the small world, man. Indiana's a really... I've been meaning to visit my buddy for a long time. Maybe we could all fucking have a hangout.
Here's a weird thing about me. My podcast, even though I do MMA fighting now and I practice jiu-jitsu and my life's completely different since I did the arts road early, and I realized, okay, it's cool and all that, and I love music and all these things, but I feel like this life has so much to offer that my brain was like, no, I can't just do one fucking thing. I gotta invest in that. I gotta see what that's about. And I even fun facts, I competed table tennis in college. Table tennis. I got a paddle that's worth more than this microphone and everything here. Like, it was like a $400 paddle. I competed. Yeah, I did a bunch of nerdy shit. Okay,
real $400 paddle. Yeah, that's amazing.
It was professional shit. And I would actually learn how to do the top spins, back spins, backhands. I got decent. I was never good. But I've just been that guy that when I see something that interests me, I got to jump on it. And after doing piano for so long, I'm like, okay, I have a good foundation as to what it takes to practice over and over and over until your head breaks, and then practice some more. So the work ethic is in me. What else do I want to explore? And I've used that approach. Like, okay, everything you do in life is going to be, you start day one and you just like, hey, where do you want to be doing this? Oh, I want to play that Metallica song. Cool. What does that Metallica song have? Oh, it's got a couple of scales here. Okay, cool. So you need scale practice. Awesome. Go online right now and look up an A major scale and play that. Or see what key the song you like is in and fuck with A major for a while, or A minor, and fuck with it. And then see what sounds good and practice this combination. And then when you actually go to learn the song, you've got technique that you didn't even realize you picked up. And that's my approach to everything. Just, where do I want to be? Like jiu-jitsu, I want to be at this level. Okay, what does that take? Well, it takes that you go to class this often, that you study when you're not actually fighting, that you actually study, on YouTube, and just that approach. Like, what things do I need, and what are the experts saying I need for this? And that's my approach to everyththing. So,
do you have any idea? Do you have an idea how much that could help people? Because a lot of people think it's impossible to do anything for some reason. It's like, yo, you just makes you want to grab their shoulders and be like, stop it, just believe in yourself, young one. It turns
you're gonna be trash when you started everything. You're gonna be trash.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think maybe the piano lessons really helped out, in teaching you that, there's a process to things, and that there's like a order of operations to kind of do things in order to kind of learn it efficiently. And that's not a lot for most people, man. Like, I guess I kind of learned off the same way, trying to learn the guitar back in the day. I had like a Walmart acoustic guitar that my parents had got me, and it came with a booklet, with some chords and a couple of riffs in there. It had Louie Louie, it had Smells Like Teen Spirit. And those are the two that I remember the most, just playing a lot, Wow. And these were just some basic things that I would look through this Walmart book, and this Walmart booklet had a chord chart, A through G, a couple of minor chords in there. Nice. And with that I learned, holy shit, here's 7 chords, A through G. Those 7, yeah. There's those, and you could write songs with this stuff, and then it would be crazy, because once I would go from a major to minor chord, I'd realize a feeling is changing. I didn't, maybe you don't realize it, but you realize there's steps to everything. And that's huge, man. In drawing, because I used to draw a lot at that time also. I was really into the visual art.
I remember that. You were, I remember being impressed.
Well, that's what I learned about with the visual art, is that, because I wasn't going to go to New World for music. They wanted me to go there for drawing. And I was like, to be a graphic designer? I don't know. It was kind of... It could have worked, but
could have worked, dude. I mean, I have friends that right now have galleries in Paris.
Man, I'm telling you, like, okay. Well, long story short, do I regret it? Yeah, I should have gone.
No, you shouldn't. I'm just saying, hey man, you made the choices you made. But I'm saying, like if I'm saying,
I think I should have though.
Maybe you get there and you're like, yo, I really like this, but I don't have. For example, like everyone told me, you should be a concert pianist. It's like, honestly, yes, I like to play piano and I have a passion for it. But like, and here's another thing. Like I said, identify what it is you want to do with it, because maybe you want to learn piano just to be a music producer, and that's a way different way to learn the piano than if you're learning piano for a concert. So it's like, approach is super important. Like identifying. And sometimes here's the even weirder part. You don't know where you want to do with it. You just know you like it. Cool. Keep doing whatever you do. Explore everything then. But once you have more of a vision of what you're going to end up being, like if you want to be a rock star, then you want to definitely make sure that you're constantly practicing with rock bands. So you learn how to play off each other. That's super important. Solo's cool, but the reality is most of the time you're in a band, you're not going to be solo. So
yeah, it's true.
Until it's your actual solo, right? So I'm just saying, like all these things, like playing piano, just if you want to play popular music and do recordings and covers and production, that's different. You know, if you want to be a jazz pianist, now you need to learn jazz theory. And if you know anything about jazz theory, it's impossible. It's the most complex form of music theory, and even I didn't understand it when I was taking the most advanced theory classes in New World. So, like I said, man,
I heard something interesting about that recently, by the way.
What?
That, this was this is one of those like cool philosophies that just it hit me. As somebody explained that, people learn all this music theory. You learn music theory in order to learn. How do I say this? The only way to make music sound cool is by learning all the theory and then literally trying to break those rules. Because the only time jazz ever sounds cool is when they play out, or when they're changing, when they do interesting changes, or when they play out a little bit, And it's ironic, it's kind of like the Pablo Picasso. You learn all the rules like a professional, and then you break them like an artist. It kind of becomes that kind of quote.
100%, and like that's exactly it. Like but it's important still. Like without the backbone, you wouldn't have the structure to know what to break. So that when you break something risky and it sounds good, it's like, oh, why does this sound good? Oh, it sounds good because I'm using the foundation of this, and I've distorted this just to give me that extra little feel that's different. Oh,
it's true.
And music theory is one of the most beautiful things, by the way. And here's something that music theory has taught me that I was taking it for granted, because I didn't realize that a musical ear is something that I think you can have an inclination to, and on top, but most importantly, I do think it's learned. That's my theory. A lot of people say that perfect pitch is something you're born with or you're not. I don't know. Maybe I was born with it. I used to be able at the age of 6 or 7, used to play a note on the piano, and I can tell you what it was. To this day, I'm not bragging, but to this day, you can play 3 different notes on any octave you want on the piano, and I can tell you top note is E, middle note is A flat. Now, here's why
you do have perfect pitch.
I did, but here's the thing. Here's why I'm a big debater of the fact that it's something you can learn. Because here's the thing. I used to have it phenomenally down, but I was playing every fucking day. My piano broke down about 5 months ago, and with the podcast and a bunch of life things, I just didn't buy a new piano. Yeah. Finally got it, and my tune is off. I can't tell what's a C anymore. I've lost it.
Interesting.
So yeah, I was born with it, but somehow like not having a piano got rid of it. No. It's because it's you lose it, use it or lose it. It really is for me, at least for me. So I don't have that perfect pitch anymore, but I've started to realize in the first week I had the piano, I'm picking it up again. So I think it's something interesting. Like everything is practice. If anybody who's listening right now, your first day is always going to suck. And your second and your third. And then there'll be days where you feel like I haven't made any progress at all. I haven't made progress. I'm actually worse. I was playing better on Monday. Those are just natural fluctuations of day to day that, sometimes your brain is on and sometimes it's not. But overall, it's like, if you're overall doing this, some days you'll be doing down and up, but overall going up, just practice and mindset, man. For real. It goes a long way.
That's one of the things that actually always kept me playing music, is that I kind of fell in love with that feeling of growth, because I feel like in guitar or just music in general, that's one of the running, maybe. That's one of the easiest ways to kind of see growth quickly. You can't play a riff today, but all of a sudden tomorrow it's easier. Whoa. That concept blew my brain out, dude. I couldn't believe.
Sleep. Something happens when you sleep, man.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. And the thing is, I was really hungry to play the guitar. And what I mean by that, dude, like when we used to be talking on the phone back in the day, my parents would be sleeping at 1, 2 in the morning, obviously. And then I used to try to play my acoustic. I used to slap the strings. I used to slap the chords so that I wouldn't make noise. And I used to be trying to play guitar.
Play for us. Alazar, play for us,
bitch. It's 2 a.m. My parents are fucking sleeping. If I play for you, you won't see me for 2 years, dog. Shit. At least that's how it was in my house.
Yeah. shit, if I play for you now, you're gonna play the fiddle for me later. No, it was a whole thing, bro. It was a whole thing. It was unbelievable, dude. And I was just really hungry to learn at that time, man. Really hungry to, and it was cool to me that you could get on the internet at that time. There was no YouTube yet, but I could get on ultimateguitar.com, which was my site at that time.
I mean, that had like the guitar like riffs and all. It had the actual the tabs. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I used to, and I didn't even have a printer. I used to have to go to my buddy's house and use his printer to print like a stack of stuff like this thick and take it home. And I used to read these tabs along with the CDs and try to play along with them because there was no YouTube. Nobody was uploading all the music to YouTube yet.
Yeah,
it was just amazing.
Lyrics something, and then with the little tabs next to it. It was badass. But
dude, it was
hey man,
great.
You really quickly want to do a little quick segment on on the phone calls we used to do, man. We used to do the stupid shit. I can't imagine we were the only ones, man. Like back in the early 2000s, late 90s.
Prank calling was an epidemic, I bet, at that time.
At that time, it must have been, yeah. That's why caller ID was invented.
You know, I remember we used to do this. We got so bored at one point calling people we knew to where we just started dialing random numbers. And
whoever picked up was fucked. It's just fucked. Oh my god, dude. Here's the thing. Nowadays, prank calling is like a dead art, right? Like nobody does it anymore. Nobody does prank calls as we know it. Because you're just an asshole if you prank call today. Like in a world where even calling your own friends is an asshole thing. Like, hey, why the fuck are you calling me? Is this not even like how dare you? Like imagine prank calling someone who's a fucking stranger. It's
dude, they kill you in your sleep, right? They probably find you. Like, how dare you besmirch the name?
But in the era, I guess nowadays the version of that would be Zoom bombing. I guess now that's what the version. Yeah, I guess Zoom bombing, right? Like going to people who hack meetings in universities, and they come into like this big auditorium, empty auditorium with a teacher speaking, and you can see all the students, you know, on their own homes, and the teacher in his own little auditorium, and then you have a guy who just logs in all of a sudden.
Yo, I was at work the other day, and this fucking guy at my job was watching a video, and we heard that in the whole laboratory.
Dude, yeah.
Teacher.
This 55-year-old Brazilian guy at my job just fumbling with his phone, like, oh fuck! Like it was amazing. I was like, we were all like, what are you looking at? What are you watching, Steve? Huh?
You know,
I shouldn't have said his name.
All of us now going, yeah, that guy's an asshole interrupting college class. But the truth is, man, had I done that, yes, bro, we were the prank callers of the early 2000s and late 90s, man.
Dude,
Zoom bombing would have been just something that we had to one up each other on at this point. But
my favorite,
yeah,
I got a favorite prank call that we got. I do have a favorite.
Okay. I got one too. Let's see if we coincide. Go first.
There was this old man that we used to call, dude. Like there was one of those random numbers that we dialed, and there used to be this old man, and then he played along, which was the biggest mistake of his life, because then I remembered his phone number, and I would call him, like we would call him every day.
Oh my god! Not one prank call. This was like a fucking. This was a you were writing a fucking.
It was just harassment. Yeah. We're just harassing.
Harassment. This is not a prank call. This is harassment.
It was just prank harassment. Yeah, phone harassment. It was just unbelievable. And then we used to call, and he was like an old guy, dude. And I think the worst time was I think we said something like we made fun of his mom or something, and I think he said his mom passed away, and it was the saddest thing that ever happened. We were like, dude, we were like 14. Yeah, we were like, dude, we're so sorry, man. We're like. You just ruined the rest of the night for us. I think we all just went to bed after that. Anyway, my favorite prank call was eventually this guy got so fed up because we kept calling him. We had this brilliant idea that both of us were gonna three-way out, dial a number, count, and then link back in at the same time. So it was literally two people. It looked like two people were calling each other, and nobody knew who called who. So two people would pick up like, hello, this is Blockbuster. And one of them was Blockbuster. And the other one was the old guy. And we had been pranking this old guy saying, hey, it's Blockbuster. So finally we called actual Blockbuster. And he was like, the Blockbuster clerk's like, Blockbuster, how can I help you? And the old guy was like, stop calling my fucking house. And the Blockbuster guy was like, sorry? Anyway.
I hate Blockbuster. I have 2 movies. I'm not going to return them. No, this guy was like, hello, hello, Blockbuster with a random guy. Hello. Okay, I'm lost. Oh, I'm lost. We have that. Do you want the first season?
Oh my god, dude, it was well coordinated. It was like the Cirque du Soleil of prank calling at that time.
Well, I mean, we did a couple of shady shit. Let's go into the more shady. Let's go into the more shady.
Oh, I know what you're about to bring up. Oh god.
Oh, hold on, ready for this. This is why you and I cannot call ourselves moral beings. This is what we did. We would call teenage suicide hotlines. I don't know if you remember that.
And the number was from the fucking bookmarks, that the laminated bookmarks they would give you at school.
You had the best phone book because the best calls came from your fucking phone book. All of us were like, hey, who do we call? We used to call you sometimes when you couldn't talk, but you could give us a quick number. Be like, hey, Alazar, pull up one of your fucking cool contacts. Anyway, I don't know how you found this, but it was a suicide hotline for teens. Teens that were going through child abuse, teens that were gay and were afraid to come out of the closet, or teens that had just come out of the closet and their parents hate them, so they just want to end their lives. Like, this was the hotline we called. And they would be open 24 hours. Poor people. Looking back on that, man, these are social workers trying to make a difference in the world. And here are you and I fucking prank calling, because what else is there to do? So anyway, Friday night, fucking 9 o'clock at night, poor this. I remember she picked up. Here we go again with the racism and the because it was a black lady. It was a black lady. She was like, hello, and you could tell and then we'd be like, yeah, hi, I'm calling you because me and my gay lover here, Arizona.
And I'd be like, hi, how are you?
Yeah, me and my gay lover here are calling because we just both opened up to our parents and they both kicked us out. So we're living remotely somewhere else. We haven't told anyone. We're just calling you. We finally got our phone set up. And this lady would be like, oh, that's terrible. You should definitely, seek shelter. You're like, no, we're good. We got a secret hiding place. But listen, like, the truth
my boyfriend's booty. That's my hiding place. I'm kidding. Sorry.
No. Then you were, anyway, but the truth is that, like, we really had rough sex last night. my butt really, really hurts. It's bleeding. But we don't want to go to the hospital because then they'll call our parents. And now here's this social worker, fucking, it's unbelievable. This social worker trying to convince us to please go to a hospital for anal bleeding. Oh no! She even asked them, well, do y'all use protection?
She did ask if we use protection.
Y'all use
every
protection?
time. Every time. And I think we even laughed. We're like, of course we do. We're like, yeah. Dude, it was the worst. Oh my God, it was so bad, dude. It was.
Here's the most. I don't know. It gets darker because you get older and you start reflecting on your past and you go, man, like, how bad was what I did? Like, okay, some pranks have long-lasting effects. Others are short-lived, and that's good, right? That's how you establish a dirty prank from a normal one. Why was this immoral? I think now that I look back on it is because, think about it. You and I were fucking telling this lady about our homosexual relations, and she was listening to us be very explicit about our sex life. Meanwhile, there was an actual teen trying to commit suicide on hold.
With a busy signal. Oh my God.
He's there like, okay, if in 5 seconds nobody picks up, dude, this is so fucked up. But man, here's the thing, just to show you how fucked up kids can be. We were so innocent in the sense that we just thought it was a prank call and it was funny. But the best part of those nights, man, and this is what I was addicted to. The best part of those nights, man, was hearing everyone that was listening, because it wasn't just you and I. Oh no. We'd call a group of friends, an audience. There'd be 6 of us.
It was an audience, dude. It really was.
Had a fucking audience. We were doing this way before podcasting was cool, man.
It was.
Yeah, wow. And here's the thing. My favorite part was some people had mute action on their phone, so they can just mute. It's like, okay, mute yourself. I'm calling. You mute. But some people didn't have that. They had like the old school phone, so they had to sit there. You can hear their breathing. And then you would hear this. You're trying to keep a straight face with this prank call, and you hear somebody going.
It was amazing.
You're there like, dude, you can't laugh. You can't fucking laugh.
Yeah, you're gonna make me lose it. Yeah. Oh, dude. Dude, the suicide prevention hotlines, man. That is something I've definitely that has haunted me in my sleep year after year. I loved it. It was the worst. I think we were innocent. And I think the problem is that we assumed that nobody would be calling these fucking places. I think that was our.
Who the fuck's calling a suicide hotline?
At that time, and then, like, obviously, we've grown older and we realize plenty of people call and plenty of people are dealing with those problems. But when you're young and you're just too busy,
don't reflect.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When you're young and Sean, like I said, when Sean Paul's on the radio all day and you can't turn on the radio without a it's just like, you're not worried about it, man. We were just too busy.
Let me hear that one more time.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yo. Let's give it a lie.
Oh, I'll give it a lie.
Yo. That shit was badass, man. That shit was cool.
I listened to the production on those songs. I can't believe how good the production was on those songs these days.
Man,
wow.
They were actually good, man. The sound is, but again, I'm not. I don't actually think we're getting worse musically. I just think like every cultural generation of music has its ups and downs. I feel like nowadays we have really like on average, like today's hip hop is pretty fire, bro.
Oh
like,
yeah. Man, like
yes, and you're gonna have your mumble rap. Sure, you're gonna have your lows of your lows, but think about your highs of your highs, man. Today's hip hop is damn good.
And it's not like we didn't have some lows. I mean, come on, like fucking Nelly, he wasn't like, that was just pop rap. Like, Nelly was going on at that time. Even the Lil Jons and the crunk shit at the time was very like fast food hip hop.
But it was still, I still ate that shit because it was fat, like you said, fast food. But
I was in love with it. It was great, dude. The sounded all. Remember at that time, doing the Spanish remix was a really big deal. They would do the remix of a song, and it would just have like Pitbull and Daddy Yankee and all these other people that were just breaking out at the time.
Yeah, no, for damn sure. We like I said, we've seen a lot of change in music, and I feel like we're not necessarily getting worse, but I do agree with you. Those days were the golden days in some eras, like we're not gonna get that back.
We're not getting that, and we're not getting worse at all. I don't think so. I think maybe people are more connected, and maybe people see worse music more often. Where at that time they wouldn't throw you on an MTV if you weren't kind of all right, like because they'd have to back you with millions of dollars to make this video and record and features and all this kind of stuff, get you a wardrobe even. These days you don't even get that. These days a lot of the people want to see you do the work themselves. Record labels I'm talking about, they want to see you do the work yourself, build up 30,000 followers on Instagram, then they might sign you.
maybe yeah, but nowadays people, you got a lot of people coming out with their own music too, so it gives a chance for a larger audience to put their stuff out there, and it's not like record labels saying, hey, this is what the feel we're looking for. Nowadays you got people like us right here, like just doing this in the form of music, and they blow the fuck up. I mean,
oh yeah.
Like look at this
Post Malone. I was just saying, look at this Post Malone. He's just going ham all over the globe, just going nuts.
Let's be honest. You as a musician, and you're a very when it comes to somebody who's just like street smart at music, you are it. I'm more of the traditional like kid whose parents just like until he fucking learned it. Couldn't accept that their kid had fucking learning disabilities. Like, you're gonna learn this,
you shall play Vivaldi or not bear the name of.
You shall not bear the name. No, so you're somebody who I consider really street smart in music.
Thanks, man.
Post Malone's music, what do you think, man? Like, honestly, did you think it's good?
I gave his most recent album. Maybe not his most recent one. I don't know. Is the album with that WoW song? Was that his latest album?
I don't know which one it was, but I enjoyed the album that was Hollywood is bleeding and we call her home.
I don't know if I heard that one. I heard a song he did with Meek Mill that was good. I like that Circles song. That's like a radio single these days. I like that song.
That's with Ozzy, right?
No, this is just like by himself. Just by himself. It's a song called Circles. I like it because what I like about Post Malone is that I feel like he didn't really want to be a rapper. That's just the genre that pays him the most. And I feel like and they've found footage of him a long time ago just doing like indie music. He's like an indie artist. Like, he plays the acoustic and stuff, but hip hop is his own. So I feel like there's good songwriting. I'm sure he's not really writing a lot of those songs anyway, but in his record, there's good songwriting. Some of the songs are pretty catchy, and his melody choice is really good. He could definitely sing even if it's with autotune. He could still sing though.
Yeah. Write these two down. I like Allergic. It sounds like a FIFA. It sounds like it can be in a FIFA game. It's called Allergic by Post Malone. I love it. Nobody's ever talked about it. And of course, I don't know if this is the name of the song, but it's the lyrics that most famously will help you find it on YouTube is Hollywood is bleeding. So if you look up Allergic or Hollywood is bleeding, those are two that musically, man, like the simplicity, yet the simplicity makes the feel so good that it's just, even when a good artist makes something really simple, if they're good at what they do, they can even make the simple sound good. And I feel like Post Malone caught me off guard, because you see this guy, and honestly, like, if you're being pre-judgmental about people, you see those tattoos, you see the teeth, and you're like, what the fuck? And his look, but then you listen to his music and you're just like, wow, okay, holy shit. Like, I became a Post Malone fan without even realizing it. I was listening to his entire album.
Post Malone, okay, and you nailed it. The music is there. The look is really funny. It's very funny.
But then I start to embrace it. Little by little, I start to embrace it.
Well, I like it though, because I feel like it's that great juxtaposition of like some, this grungy look, but with this really clean music style. Excuse me, which is interesting. It's kind of like you have, it's kind of like when people, I'm trying to think of a band that was like really heavy, but they were like kind of like Pretty Boys. Like, you have like Avenged Sevenfold we spoke about earlier. They would make like this kind of heavy music, and I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say about them, but they were very like with the tight pants and the aviator glasses and the no sleeve shirts and like they had a certain. They weren't afraid to wear some makeup.
Speaking of which, I lost a big bet with my dad. My dad wanted, because remember in middle school days, if you didn't have the baggy pants, the hip hop look, you weren't cool. And I would always try to buy my school uniform. Like I would always pick the ones that were a little baggier at the bottom, that had the little that started to curl up as with the high boot rise. I used to get it, and then my parents would always make me look dorky, and they'd ruin it. They'd completely ruin it. Long story short, my dad said to me, in another cycle, maybe when you're about in your 20s and 30s, tight pants are coming back. And I looked at him. I'm like, how the fuck are tight pants gonna come back? Like that's not gonna happen. There's no way tight, bro.
Tight pants have never left.
No, but in middle school you get butchered. Like if your shorts were.
Oh no, middle school, yeah.
If
at our time.
In our time.
No.
If you wore shorts that were above your knee, you were the biggest nerd.
Right around the time Lil Wayne got really big, which was around my high school, your college days, or post high school.
Yeah.
That time was that was the skinny jean resurfacing phase. You're right though. Honestly, it was hard to even find skinny jeans in like stores. Do you remember that? They weren't even that hard. They weren't even that easy to find. Like, dude, they didn't sell them. You'd have to wear like chick pants or like, some really expensive jeans that were like extra skinny for no reason. Like, these fucking end up with Britney Spears hip huggers.
Yeah. Just
with the low rise.
Oh my god, bro. I'm sorry. I was a Britney Spears fucking closet fan, bro. I couldn't admit
I'm a shout out to Pharrell for fucking providing some goddamn rhythm to Britney Spears' life, because Pharrell produced "I'm a Slave for You," and good lord, that's one of her best songs. Because Pharrell, anybody could have been on that song. Jay-Z could have been on that song, and it would have been great.
Dude, I'm sorry. I loved Britney. Always, I don't care, love her or hate her. She had the fire beats, and her concerts, man. From what I hear, phenomenal.
All these pyrotechnics, wearing an anaconda, fucking walking around. A python, whatever. A python.
Go back to that era though. Like you'll notice, like go to oh man, shit. You remind me of a girl.
Mario.
Yeah,
who was that? No, you remind me.
That's your boy. Come on, man. That's Usher.
That's Usher. This is why I just can't.
This is how Usher started. And if you look at that video, like yes, that was when the hip hop pants were getting smaller. The R&B guys were always on but you could still see it was baggy. Like it was really baggy. Like nowadays, if you wore that nowadays, you'd look a little weird. Like nowadays, hip hop artists tend to have the tighter pants. Like look at NF, look at everybody. It's just tight pants. My dad called it. He's like, you're gonna see the hip hop industry with tight pants. He called it 20 years at a time. I said, no fucking way, bro. This is the era when you used to remember the people who used to tuck the pants behind on their butt, but never used to tuck the belly. Remember those days? The gangsters would only tuck the back, leave the front.
That's so true. Yeah, they walk around with they walk around like fucking pigeons all day, just like just holding their pants by the back, and they'd just be walking around like literally pigeons. Just
bunch of middle school kids trying to figure out what gestures look cool. Sup.
What up? Yeah.
You remember either a rocker or a rapper?
You remember at the time when people would just hold their phones out and play their ringtones because the phones couldn't store actual songs, so they would only store ringtones. So people would be walking around with these 30-second, 15-second loops of
songs. Yeah, no, totally. I did that shit.
And they bought them. You had to buy them with money.
You had to buy them, dude. That I'm telling you, man.
The ringtone game was a. That's how Soulja Boy made a lot of his money at that time. That fucking Crank That. The Crank That Soldier.
Had no idea. So you needed something that Soulja Boy was a ringtone.
Ringtone rappers, they called them. Just like the Laffy Taffy song. Yeah, but it was ringtone rap. Obviously, the kids don't know what that is today.
I have to look this up. Ringtone rap?
Yeah, like I said, very short-lived because it's just outdated technology. It's kind of like a phone book ripper bodybuilder back in the day. There's just no room for that these days.
Crazy. That's crazy. I didn't know rappers who made like I didn't know Soulja Boy came from that.
Yeah, well, he got popular. It was kind of unintentional because the song was such a hit, and then everybody wanted it on their fucking phone just to hear those fucking steel drums in the beginning.
I should have known on the first date that when her phone went off and it was you, I was like, you are done. Bye. Should have walked off. Like bye.
No.
That's everything I know about you.
I remember at that time, Hypnotic was the alcohol to be drinking. At that time, it was a big deal. Hypnotic.
Oh God, dude, yeah.
With a Q.
Because it fucking it lit up and it looked really aqua blue and it was nice and
it looked like it could be in a Jennifer Lopez video. It looked like
That's true. That's true. It was a prop to one of her videos.
J-Lo was a big deal at that time, especially. So we didn't talk about her yet, but she was like just killing it. Hey, remember when she came out with the clothing brand around that time? So all the girls started wearing her clothes. Everybody started dressing like J-Lo. It became a thing.
I remember that. Yeah, was that? And I specifically remember the J-Lo look. I just
the denim. She had like a denim bodysuit looking thing. It was like it was super weird, like a denim jumpsuit. It was wild, dude. Yeah, it was hilarious. That album was such a fucking hit, dude. I forgot what it was. My Love Don't Cost a Thing. If You Had My Love, right? What's those songs? Jenny from the Block. That album, man. Or that might have been the next album. I don't remember.
You are taking me down memory lane every second of this episode, bro. It's crazy.
You take me down memory lane, dude, because here's a funny memory. I was going to bring this up earlier. I'm glad I didn't, because maybe the first minute or so of the episode with the audio was kind of goofed anyway. This is a funny memory I got. You, Danny Miami, are the reason that I lost weight as a teenager. You are the reason that I had a literal body transformation. You're the reason I lost 60 pounds in a year, dude.
Fuck did I do, bro? Did I bully you, bro? Did I call you a fatty or some shit?
No, you didn't. You didn't have to. Somebody else did instead. It was great. One day we were hanging out at Main Street, and this was the day. This was one of the days I remember the day clear as day. Clear as crystal. We were hanging out at Main Street.
Crystal, what the fuck?
Crystal clear. We were hanging out at Main Street once, and this girl came up to me, and obviously I was stoked. Here's my new metal. Yeah,
a girl walked up to me. Obviously I had a boner. So
yeah, I mean, you feel me? And I was stoked. Here I am, this fucking chubby 13-year-old with a full beard. You know, with like
so fast. You developed so fucking fast. I forgot, dude.
And I had this weird haircut where I'd have like these like lines of hair in my eyes. It was this really weird haircut. Anyway, this girl walked up to me and I was stoked, and she was like, "Hey," I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And she's like, "Your friend is really cute." She's talking about you.
No. Bro, here's the thing, bro. Here's the thing. Look, I'll admit it. Yes, I've improved. But, bro, I was an ugly motherfucker back then. I really think so. Dude, I'm not just being critical of myself. I'm not. Point blank. Like, if I didn't know what I myself looked like at that age and you lined up a bunch of kids, I'd be like, yeah, that guy would never make me. Yeah, bye.
Dude, not according to that chick. It was so funny, dude. It was hysterical, and she was like, "Yeah, your friend's really cute." She's like, "Is he single or whatever?" And I was like, "I don't fucking know," and just walked away. And I just remember thinking that day, like, hell fucking no. I'm not gonna be the. I just remember thinking, like, I am not gonna be this fucking sitcom third string character. Get the fuck out of here,
bro.
You know.
I promise you. I mean, the Main Street day. By the way, we used to hang out at that place called Main Street, which is a place in Miami Lakes. There was a place called Johnny Rockets.
Not there anymore. You know that?
Yeah, they took it. Hold on. There is a place there now. It's a Mexican place. It is called.
It is. Fiesta, you nailed it.
Fiesta.
I don't even know the name. That
okay,
might
it's
be.
fire.
Makes sense to me.
Okay, long story short, future later on, me about 6 years ago, I moved in with this chick that I'm with now. We've been actually met her at New World. She was the other student that got accepted the same year as me.
That's sick.
So now it's not the most romantic story because of course we were just friends. We realized we had a thing for each other. She goes to college, I did my own thing, and then we were kind of
rendezvous later. Yeah.
Yeah, just like, hey, let's hang out, and you're in your own relationship, and so am I, but we're friends, and nothing ever happened. Nothing ever happened. And then
think of everything I've sacrificed. Think of
so we were like, this really good friendship and just stayed in touch. And anyway, but now we're officially going on to like 6 years. Long story short, that place when it was Main Street and it was actually Johnny Rockets, I should say. I actually remember like chilling there with you and looking at me like, man, these people are really fucking busy. Look at that lady putting the fries in. Like, who the fuck wants this job?
Dude, they were. And they had to go through so.
I worked there.
I had and I had some friends that worked there. Yeah, dude, Roman.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Roman was like my boy. Roman was my guy.
Roman is a very cool guy, and absolutely. Romsky. Yeah.
Dude, yes. Dude,
yeah.
Shout out to Romsky.
Shout out to Romsky. He's actually a fan of the podcast as well. So if you want to find him, I'll link you to his thing later if you haven't talked in a while.
Shout out ShutUpLetsTalk. Please let him see this moment. Mark the time when we see it. ShutUpLetsTalk. What's up, man? I love you. I miss you, man.
Yeah, man. And there were some great people that worked there. I had a buddy named Lewis who also worked there, who was Roman's friend, and just a bunch of characters that I knew that worked there. And it was they busted their ass, dude. And I didn't know you worked there as well. So yeah, everybody busted their ass, dude.
Brother Mishka.
And his brother Mishka. Mishka's amazing too. Yeah.
It was Mishka was just a little miniature version of him.
yeah. They even looked the same. It was amazing.
Dude, this is so crazy, man. What a small world, man.
I'm telling you, brother. And they busted their ass. Dude. They'd have to dance on top of the tables. They'd have to.
They keep saying they, bro, because I'm telling you, I was next to Roman. So this
forgetting
job, bro, this job like was as close as I'll ever get to being Magic Mike. You know?
Holy fuck!
It was a job where you had to serve tables. And like you had to do a little dance, you know, in the middle of the fucking bro. I'm slammed.
Do a little dance, make a little love, and you literally had to get down tonight.
You have to get down tonight, bro. I'm telling you, bro. You know, here I am in my. Here's the thing. I did get that job past the curve. Usually, you get that job as a teenager. I got that job when I was like 22. It's fucking embarrassing, but I got it. I became supervisor there and everything. And
sick.
I would hate it when I'm taking tables and doing. Oh yeah, dude. I ended up working at the one at Hard Rock. Oh man, it was crazy. Crazy. I worked at a shit ton of locations at Ventura. I wasn't just at one store. It was nuts.
Damn. You went on tour.
You're slammed. You got 5 tables. One lady needs refills. And one of these drinks. This one needs fries. It was like the worst version of like the fucking restaurant games you play on your cell phone. But, you know, and then on top of that, when the lights go off on Saturday nights, you have to fucking dance. You have to literally drop everything and dance. So there were some nights where, again, like I said, you know, there was the most Magic Mike I ever got. We got on the countertops, shaking our booties, you know, all this gay shit. And the worst part about this job, about doing that, is when you dance.
The people that watch.
People are watching, but even worse, some of these motherfuckers are waiting for their food, and they're fucking hungry.
Be like, should have been here 5 minutes ago with my chili fries. Too busy shaking your goddamn ass.
No, seriously. So I remember one time I was like popping it, I was, you know, doing the booty thing and all that. And I look over and fucking some really pissed off Hispanic mom looking at like, oye. Oh yeah, she was looking at me. I'm dancing. I'm trying to be sexy, and this bitch is looking at me like, "Oh yeah, what the fuck are my tenders? Don't you see I got kids hungry here? Shit." And I'm there like, "Yeah, but I gotta do a little dance, make a little love." That was worse. Or even worse.
Just get down on it. Get down on it.
Gotta bake some cheese fries. They're burning, and you're doing this. And this motherfucker, and it's an open kitchen restaurant. It wasn't a closed kitchen restaurant, right?
No, so it wasn't. You could see everything.
You're looking and you're like, yo, my fries are burning and this motherfucker is getting down tonight. Like, fuck. Literally dancing while I was supposed to serve people. So kind of a pleasure came with that. I would be like, hey, yo, I got this table that's really mad at me for no fucking reason. Can we dance right now and make them wait longer? Perfect. Boom. Do a little dance. You know, that was a lot of fun, man. Those were the days, man.
Shit.
I'm sorry. I know life is as good as it gets for us right now, but those days, man, they were magical because we were so fucking lost.
And we were unplugged, so you had to be lost, and it was great being lost together because you'd find people that would, you know, walk the path with you, so to speak. You know, it was great, man.
We were so fucking lost. Like I didn't do anything right at that age. My friend, quick story. This is before I left Miami. A friend of mine was getting evicted from his apartment. Shout out to evictions. And of course it'd be my friend. You know, I don't have any friends that are getting places. They're all losing places. Well, anyway, so this guy, you know, I'm helping him move, and I don't know the first fucking thing about anything. Like, we're literally moving stuff onto a truck that's borrowed. We're putting it on the back of the truck. This is one of the most memorable moments before I left Miami. In terms of jokes, like this was my favorite fucking thing that's ever happened to me. So he's got like a mattress, a couch, and then the fucking mattress supporters on top of the thing, which fly off very easily in the wind. I came to learn.
Oh no!
I'm going down a very busy avenue. Both mattresses fly, like the mattress supports that go under that are very light. They fly off. I'm only going 15 miles an hour, but as I'm making so I'm going down this heavy avenue. You know, the mattresses fly off. I'm on a borrowed truck trying to help my evicted friend move because he's got to leave now. And them shits fly off. I'm by myself. I forgot how I ended up by myself. And I look into the rearview mirror and Miami traffic in rush hour stopped because this motherfucking truck, it's just dumpster all over the street. So now I have to do a quick plan. There was a gas station left. I'm hooking left. I get into the gas station. There's a lady pumping. There's this black lady pumping gas. And she's there looking at me. And then she saw the whole thing. She saw the boom and the bang and the cars beep, 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 beep. And she sees it's my fault. And I'm coming in and she's just pumping gas, just chilling, look at him. And I'll never forget what she said to me. As I'm getting out of the car, I'm trying to play, you know what you do when you're trying to play it cool, like, hey, you know, it's all right.
I got it. I got it.
In my head, I'm like, Jesus, Jesus, you stop traffic. Everybody's looking at you. Everybody's honking. You're gonna be on the fucking news, dude. And I'm there like, okay, just go into the middle of a fucking 6-way street. You know, 3-way street on both sides. You know, 6 lanes, I should say. I'm nervous. I'm getting off the car, and this lady had. This is why humor is really important in our lives, because without this, I would have freaked out. But she kept me calm. But she made me laugh. That's really what it was. And as I'm getting out of the truck, looking at the intersection busy, she looks at me with still the fucking gasoline thing in the tank. And she looks at me and she goes, Sir, excuse me, sir, yo bad. It's all over the road. So just lady just like that. Sir, I still hear it every day. Sir, your bed is all over the road. She said that, bro. I cracked up. I have never realized that in a moment of utter fear and dissonance, you can laugh that hard. So whoever that lady was, man, if ever you hear this, thank you.
She is just the proverbial icebreaker. She nailed it.
Your bed is all over the road, son. You need to fix that. That was the best, son. Oh, I laughed so hard. I'm like, thank you, man. That lady was a blessing in my life that day.
Yo, give me what up, Tommy? We got a live studio audience here right now. Tommy's hanging out. Tommy, feel free to throw a pair of headphones on so you can listen with us. Feel free.
Yo, come on, man. I wish I was having one of those ultras with you guys.
I know. I wish you were too, man. Whenever you come down, thank you, Milo. Whenever you come down here, we definitely got it. You can grab it. You're not on camera. It's pointing at me. So, Legato's in the chair. Whoops, my cat is in the chair. Oh, and Tommy's wearing this cool Tupac shirt that we got him for his birthday.
Really?
So shout out to Tupac. And you know what I miss? We were from a time where they used to. I love the joke that they had back in the day, where it was like his name was Tupac until Schwarzenegger said it.
There were so many 2000s one-liners that I found really funny. And here's the thing: have you noticed that they're not funny anymore? Like, man, I think our humor is either getting better or we just got tired of it. I don't know.
Yeah. Something has happened. Either we've matured or the kids today are just nowhere near as funny as they should be. Because what the fuck, guys? What happened, children? Kids today don't even like to call each other. What prank calling are they going to do? What are they going to... Now they just bully each other on Snapchat or whatever the fuck.
And you know, every generation has its fun. I'm sure they're having way more fun than us. Think about it. How easy it is to hook up with a chick now. Fuck, man. Parents are a little less strict. You know, if you date a girl, you know, at a younger age, the parents are usually more accepting. It's just more liberal, I feel. Whereas if ever I talk to a girl, just to talk to her, I had to enter. I don't get the ding dong on the front door. The parents would come. They would size you up and judge you. Yes, well, you know who I'm here for, bitch. Just let me get through. You know, you were here at my age. Stop pretending like you don't know what the fuck is going on here.
Oh, dude. Especially the kind of the crowd that we grew up around was kind of like, I don't want to say conservative, but they was kind of like a very, and what I'd be like this Bob Graham, Barbara Goldman area. You know, it was kind of
they were very protective, especially if it was a girl. If it was a girl, man, and here's the thing: in the Hispanic community, the girl is totally fucking treated like this thing you have to protect. Like if you had a daughter, if you had a daughter, her virginity had to be protected because that was like your reputation.
Yeah, that was like the college fund, right? It's like if she loses, that college fund gone.
No, we all knew it though. We all knew it. Like most parents were probably cool with it, but the reason they didn't want their daughter like having a boyfriend over late or whatever is because they knew that their neighboring ass, nosy, judgmental parents are gonna be judging them. Like, oh, what kind of father would let their? And it was like this whole like label thing.
So true.
You know,
There's a lot of that here. There's a lot of that here. I don't know if do you see that kind of stuff happen up north? Is it more?
Dude, it's just so hard because you know when you're young, you notice it because you're in it. I haven't lived here like a kid, so I don't know. You know, I've lived an adult life here. You know, like actually an adult life, and I don't mean that in a boring way. Like actually doing things that I want to do. Like I don't have to ask my parents if they can let me go to the gym to train and sign my membership. You know, so I haven't lived as a kid. And I haven't even maybe we should have a kid on a podcast just to see like, hey, what's it like to like what kind of pranks do your friends do?
Oh, I thought you meant like me and you have a child on the podcast.
I mean like hypothetically, if you would have a kid, like just like yo. Like,
I was making a sex joke, like we're gonna have to fuck on camera and make a child.
Please edit that out, bro. Our morals have already been questioned here with prank calling suicide hotlines for teens.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna have to start our own show at some point because this is this podcast is taking me places, man. I'm telling you, it's hilarious.
Yeah,
man.
no, it's been great, man. Like everything of who I am today. Like honestly, my appreciation for well-timed jokes and humor and spontaneous. Like for example, like when I watch what are those guys called that do pranks in public, and they're very famous comedy.
Impractical Jokers.
Impractical jokesters, whatever.
Something like that. Yeah.
That's essentially like my appreciation for people like that and who can do spontaneous things like that came from when we would do these things. So
Thanks, man, dude. I had a big love for like Tom Green at that time. You know, Tom Green show, and eventually he had his own not podcast, but he has his own talk show. The fucking alcohol is like, yeah. He had his own podcast. I keep calling everything a podcast now. He had his own talk show. And honestly, I know that this is a podcast, but really to me, this is a talk show. Like, yeah, I know that
it's just the, you know,
it's just the umbrella term, right? Yeah. Which it's just, you know, I don't know, man. I constantly try to find ways to break this goofy algorithm that we have to follow. Do you have any idea how hard? Well, you do have an idea because you have your own podcast and, you know, thing that you push. It's super hard to get anywhere on social media these days, man. Because if you don't have some sort of like, I don't know, man. It's like you gotta leave a lot of bait for the people these days. There's a lot of bait that they have to bite onto. You know, some sort of thumbnail, some sort of sensationalist headline, some sort of a weird angle these days, and it's that I love and hate the podcast world for that same reason, because you see a lot of bullshit get through for no reason, and then also you at the same time we get to keep it real, bro. Like, I love this because we're not on a radio station, we're not being told what to say, how to say it, we're not being forced to advertise some bullshit in the middle of the show that we don't want to. So, you know, it's purely fan funded, man. And I haven't had a chance to monetize Shut Up Let's Talk yet, but are you guys thinking about any way to monetize the podcast on your side?
So we hit gold here because the guy who started it all was actually a coworker. I work in an office, and he was pretty much like, hey man, you know, this is back like November. He's like, hey man, I'm thinking of starting a sports podcast. And Alzar, just so you know, I'm really, I don't know if you've gone through my Instagram, but I'm really into the UFC. Like
bro, you know it was good.
I watch every fucking fight card, even the ones that nobody hears about, like fighters, you know, not the mainstream. Like, I watch a lot of it, man. And he's like, hey man, I hear you talk about it with the one coworker who can put up with your ass, and you seem to know what you're saying. Like, would you like to just bring this vibe? And I said, sure. So anyway, this is a umbrella, but we've got everything here. And long story short, as soon as that started happening, something very interesting happened. There's basically a guy in England who had a lot of money. This is how I understand. I'm being very vague here, but essentially people who can invest came to South Bend out of many other communities they visited, and they're like, hey, we'd like to start a semi-pro / pro soccer team, like the Orlando team and the Miami team. Like, we want to start our own soccer team here. So they're the new kids on the block, and we pretty much found out about them, and we love soccer as well. As you know, I love soccer as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I would love it if, what a coincidence. Like, we're starting a podcast, they're starting a soccer team. Let's meet passions and let's put it
in the world.
Well, we are, as of right now, their official podcast.
Whoa!
So if you go to the South Bend Lions website, southbendlions.com, and you go to contact us, about us, it'll say podcast. You click there. We pretty much have a segment where we introduced all the soccer players we thought were going to be playing, but coronavirus screwed it all up. So long story short, no. But here's the thing: we were so pumped, man. We met the coaches, the owners. Like, we were talking about how we're monetizing it right now is not necessarily through any means that we're actually able to do through social media. So in terms of that struggle, we're in the same boat, son. Like, we're screwed. We're screwed. We're learning, but we're learning.
Have you guys thought about Patreon? Do you guys know what that is at all?
Yes. It's actually one of the most recent conversations we've had.
I got one. But what annoys me about them is that they're kind of like politically correct, you know? If you say some bullshit, they might delete your account overnight and you don't even know, or some stupid shit like that.
Oh, this episode would have been off the air. This episode would have been cut off.
Yeah.
We fucked up so many times already. Like, that's
what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking of some way to maybe, I don't know, man. We gotta get with the times these days. Like, we should just drop some sort of cash app, some fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like, something that, like, people actually, it's what annoys people, dude, is putting their credit card information in. That's what pisses people off.
Podcast.
Yeah, dude. Podcast. Hey, there's something that, you know, there's actually an app at the moment. I wish I could remember what it is so that I could help them out so they could help us. But there's a podcast service out there. It's an app. You listen to podcasts and you get paid to listen to podcasts. Like they pay you money to listen to somebody else's show.
And what do you do when you listen? Is that the only thing you got to do? I'm sure there's something else to it.
I'm not sure because I haven't downloaded it, but I had a buddy who has his podcast and he was using them as a sponsor for a little bit. So I've been meaning to look into it, but I think it's a great service. If people are going to listen to stuff anyway, better than YouTube or whatever, giving you pennies on the whatever. You know, YouTube money is man. I think over the last 4 years, and don't get me wrong, I know my marketing is maybe not where it should be, so there's a lot of factors at play, but I think I've only made less than $5 on YouTube over the last few years. Dude, I make more money on Spotify, and I don't even advertise my album. And I'm on Spotify, and I've made like at least $15-20 on Spotify.
How did you do that?
I made an album. I uploaded it to a place that lets you listen on Spotify and iTunes and all these places. People can buy it wherever they want, and whenever they buy it, it goes to that one account, and it tells you how much money you make from the different sources. And when I look at Spotify for that one album I came out with 3 years ago, it's probably made over $15-20, something like that, and some change, which I'm happy about because I don't push it. I don't force it around on down anybody's throat. I don't do much with it. I came out with it, and I'm working on a new one. I'm happy with it. I was stoked, man. I'm stoked.
It's beautiful. Are you kidding me?
Thanks, man.
I have yet to release anything to this world. With everything that I know, I just don't. When it comes time to put something out, that's my flaw, and I'll admit it. That's definitely where I've definitely slipped up. But man, the fact that you put something out and it actually generated something, like that $20 is worth more, man. And my question to you would be, you didn't continue because
continue like making more music and things like that?
Bro, you dropped that first album that made you $15-20 in 3 years. It's time for part 2, son. When are we getting that?
Well, it's been complicated because my computer, which I had all my music on, took a dump, and then I lost all the tracks I had been working on for the second album. So I had to build a new computer, then get all my software, and then rewrite new music. So it's been kind of just like, it's one of those things where you just kind of keep it rolling. So I had like maybe 6 or 7 songs. The last album was 8 songs. I had about 6 or 7 songs that kind of went away. So now new songs, new music.
Great. Do you record all the instruments?
Yep, I do the drums on the key. Thanks, man. I do the drums on the keyboard. I got a guitar. I got basses. I got an acoustic. I don't do vocals, but if I did, I would. Probably using this mic.
When I visit Miami, let's do a jam session, record some stuff, and see if we can maybe build on it, or like if you maybe there's like a certain progression you love and you can inspire. Maybe even if it inspires you to do your own album, I don't care. You gotta do it.
Listen, I know for a fact. It's not even an opinion. No, well, not even just that. That too. Excuse me. I know for a fact that
Morty.
I know for a fact, like, slap into a Slim Jim. Ooh yeah. I know for a fact that you are I don't want to say an easy musician to work with, but I know that you're definitely somebody that I won't have to struggle with because I can tell you, dude, give me a chord progression and you'll do it.
Probably, yeah, of course.
Well, you can give me 4 chords. You can give me 4 chords, and I know, dude, and shout out to all the homies I've ever worked with in the past, but some people just really, they don't, they maybe work on other things, and it's hard for them to maybe get that 4 chord progression going, so I know that that's not something you got to worry about.
Here's something, it's a funny story, with all the piano, I was considered like, the kid who knew the most piano on the block and all these things, and it's only because, of course, again, rigid upbringing and all that, but let me tell you something that would happen to me very often. I would go to Samash because I fucking hated when I would be taken shopping by force to the mall. What kind of boy at that age, 14, 13, liked going to the mall for real and actually shopping? Like, that was a torture. That was, you looked forward to when we were going to walk by Dave & Buster's, when we were going to walk by the certain stores. Well, what I would do is I'd say, okay, fuck this shit. You guys do your thing and meet me here in Samash. And I would go and I would mess with the drum section, whatever. Long story short, every time.
Dolphin Mall?
Dolphin Mall. Yes, good call. The best mall ever. That was like the date mall. That was for everything, right? Because you could do it all. You want to do a nice Dave & Buster's, want to go to a movie. Had it all, dude. Had it all. And walk. Anyway, long story short, my first date with one of my longest girlfriends in relationships. Yeah, man. It was our first date. We were getting to know each other. We had never met. This is the first time we actually met. We met over MySpace. Fuck that. We met over MySpace.
The original Tinder.
Yeah. No, seriously. AIM technically was for a lot of people, I came to realize. And if you're really feeling nostalgic, by the way, look up AIM sounds on YouTube. There's a guy who plays all the sounds of AIM just to make if you really want to get nostalgic. Man. Go to AIM sounds, bro. I jerked it.
The creaky door when people would sign on.
And if it was the girl you were waiting for, those were the fucking days.
I love when people had their like own music sounds, and then you'd hear like 2 seconds of a Linkin Park song or Metallica.
You're like, oh shit, my friend Frank is on. That's his sign on song.
That sounded like my Arabic friend when he gets on.
So I'd be at Dolphin Mall, right, and I'd go up to some loser, to what I would perceive as somebody who's like just playing like little shitty chords on the piano. And here's the fucked up part. This is where I realized in life you gotta stay humble. With all the lessons, with all the music that I was practicing more than the average kid at my age, I would go to Dolphin Mall and see a guy playing that I could clearly tell had no background like I did. He wasn't as educated in music, and he was playing a chord progression, and in one of those he would like, do it in a nice way, and I'd be like, whoa, what's that sound? And I would have to go up to him and be like, hey, what'd you just play there? And he would actually teach me, oh, this? Yeah, it's just this. And yeah, it's easy, but I never thought of playing or improvising with those chords. The dude changed my approach to music, and it was a guy who didn't know anything about piano,
Wow.
And as much as I was doing, he just brought something that was different, and that's all it took. So everyone has just a style that's different, and I feel like your pros and cons are always going to be different from one person to the next. So even though I might be an easier musician to play with, maybe I'm a hard musician to actually learn something more rigid, or maybe my chord progressions are not as creative as yours. Even though I'm easier to jam with, I'm just not as creative as you.
I think you've got a great ear, and that'll get you really far, dude. Because I don't know music theory. I play even today. I still play through ear by ear, and
That's form of music theory.
Yeah, I use really basic theory. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just kind of like if I can see that there's some sort of pentatonic blues pattern going on, I'll try to maybe fuck with it. And if not, I'll break off. But really, it's not that... I think throughout my life, I've always been the kind of person that enjoys the question more than the answer. Answers kind of bum me out. Answers kind of tell me, all right, you're done here. It kind of finishes the conversation. A question can blossom into a whole conversation, and it's this feeling of wonder that makes you want to explore. A question makes you want to explore, but it kind of tells you your journey's done. Start a new one. Let's get a new question. So to me, it's not that answers are bad. It's just that musically, I maybe could have sat there and learned the theory for the hundreds of hours, but in a way, I kind of loved feeling around in the dark for these notes, for this music, because I like when I close my eyes and I can just hear it talk back to me, and I hear these things in my head and I get them out, and to me that feels like magic. And I don't want music to feel like math. I want it to feel like magic.
100%, man. So here is the beauty of music theory, is that a lot of times you'll get to an answer, and this is like anything in life. Yeah, sometimes you get to an answer, and an answer does feel like a dead end, like, oh, there's nothing else to learn. But here's the thing: answers can stack more questions. Like, okay, we got here. Oh, of course, that's because of this. Wait a minute. But now that we know this, and this is my final answer, what about the answer to this question and this here, and we combine it and we can mess with it? Like, there's not every answer is a dead end. So I think that now that you've done your exploration in one sense, where you've explored music without it, like, just now throw in a few answers in there and see if
Absolutely.
maybe with your need to explore, maybe these known things that are a little bit mechanical help you build on other improvisations. I'm telling you, I'm not saying you're wrong, because I think exploration and self-discovery is super important, especially in something like music, right?
Absolutely, and little by little, I've been getting into that now. There's a YouTuber I watch called Rick Beato. He's amazing, and he breaks down a lot of music theory, and I've been learning these days a lot more about that. And earlier you were talking about how you had this perfect pitch because you grew up listening to classical. Well, you didn't say because, but I'm going to say because.
It was because, for sure.
You grew up listening to classical music. This guy that I'm talking about, this YouTuber, he's about 50-something, 55, 53, whatever. He's got a son right now. Shout out to my dog for fucking getting busy, I guess, because his son is like 12. So anyway, I didn't ever realize that until right now. Anyway, yeah, his son is like 12, and his son has perfect pitch. This guy himself does not. But he's a music producer, and he's got a very good relative pitch because he's worked his ass off for it. Anyway, he did an experiment with the son about perfect pitch. He plays this extremely complex chord, 10 notes, right? And his son can name all of them. And his son is, this is at his time when the son was 8, and he does one every year because he wants to tell people that when his son was in the womb, this guy used to play classical music for his child all the time, and he explained it scientifically by saying that classical music, children learn. Classical music has so many interval jumps, space from notes, if you don't know what that is, space between two notes. There's a lot of big jumps. There's a lot of half steps. There's a lot of unfamiliarity going on. You know, there's a lot of unfamiliarity, and children learn through unfamiliarity, just like languages. You know, growing up learning Chinese, there's so much more vocabulary going on because you're bending your mouth in different ways, making different sounds. English doesn't have that many sounds compared to Russian or Arabic or Chinese. And that relates into the classical music, is that children learn off of this. So you've been learning before you even realized it, and because of this classical music. And by the time you did pick up a piano, those things started linking back together, and once your parents unlocked it,
part of it. Yeah, it's got to play a part in it for sure.
Yeah, that was a whole tangent.
Yeah,
but yes.
No, dude, that's amazing. I could listen to you talk about this shit all day, man. But yeah, I do think that I'd like to put that to the test. Like, what would be the difference between exposing a child to, let's say, like the Led Zeppelin era of rock instead of the Mozart era of classical music, right? Would you really see a disparity in I at the end of the day, it's still musical notes, and they have a range, and they, I think that they can condition a certain inclination towards music all the same. So I don't know.
I agree.
Although I'm a classical head and I love it, I will say the same. I will say this. Yeah, I think that it's a myth. Not a myth. I would say that I don't know how much classical specifically demonstrates to be superior. I think it just sounds fancier. Like if my child listened to Mozart, it sounds way more fancier and like uptight, upscale, I should say, upscale than like somebody who like showed their kid, Jimi Hendrix.
Well, here's the thing. Well, here's the thing. You're comparing two styles of good music, which you're talking about Jimi Hendrix, and so they both have those. Excuse me. Both of those things that you're comparing have those same interval jumps. I guess what I'm talking about is like showing, or pop, even crunk. Yeah, crunk, or even just a Madonna. Even a Madonna, for example, right? Like that was the 80s, right? That's not new necessarily, but like a Virgin, like that song, for example, or all those tracks that she had back in the day. I'm not a Madonna fan. She had these simplistic songs, but they were repetitive. They didn't have a lot of dynamics as far as volume goes, because they're the same way through. You want dance music to be the same way so that people dance constantly for 2 or 3 minutes.
The continuity of the dance is better if you have the same level throughout the song, right?
Exactly. So, when it comes to Hendrix or like this Led Zeppelin that you were talking about, or,
I brought up 2 good examples. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, because those are epic. Those people learn from that music, dude. It's just the dumbed down, watered down bullshit that the suits and ties would love to push to you to kind of keep you stupid, so that you become a listener, not a player yourself. Are you going to be the leader or the follower? And I think that's when I would listen to you play the piano back in the day, and you used to play these just amazing things, man. I don't know what the hell you were doing. You were just doing some wild Beethoven stuff, and it was just great. It was just great, and I would look at you and I would think, this guy is a year or 2 older than me, right? There is no reason why I can't have my own musical journey, And a lot of people get discouraged. But here's the thing: like I'm thankful, that maybe my parents put that kind of confidence in me as well, because as soon as they would hear me play something kind of cool, they would always be like, "Whoa, you should play that again. You should play that louder. You should."
Awesome.
It was never turn that shit down. Never.
What would you play? What would you play that they liked specifically, if you remember?
Well, I'll tell you the first memory. The first memory. They brought me the guitar. I took it out of the box.
This is the Walmart guitar, right?
The Walmart guitar. Shout out to First Act for giving me an opportunity to fall in love with frequencies, and. I took this guitar out of the box, and I remember it was not tuned, because it wasn't, and I didn't have a tuner. I let this guitar sit there for 8 months, but because I didn't know how to tune it. I was like, how am I going to tune this fucking thing? And at that time, information wasn't like that. Anyway, so at 13, I would just pick up the guitar, and even though it was detuned, I would just strum it. I would learn the technique of strumming.
Wow.
And because I was like, I see them doing this, and their wrist seems really loose, and I want to try that. And I would just play random shit, like I would just try to strum. And my mom would hear me and be like, "That's getting somewhere really good. Like, you seem like you have an idea." We went to Walmart again 8 months later, and I realized I needed a tuner. I bought a tuner for myself. I would ask my mom, can I fucking get to 14 years old? Like, you mind if you break off $10 for me? I need this tuner. And I went home, tuned my guitar. I played an E minor note, and I almost cried at how beautiful this sounded, dude. It was and I remember that chord, dude, because it was the easiest one. It was 2 frets, and the rest of the strings open. And I tuned that guitar up, and falling in love with that vibration that hits your body from the guitar. And when it pulls you in, dude, it pulls you, bro. Like, and if it doesn't pull you, it probably ain't for you, or you're not sweet talking to it the right way. It's just something.
Yeah. 100%. E minor is actually the key of a very famous soundtrack piece I like from Final Fantasy VII. Xanarkin, I think it is. Starts in E minor. So
Sick.
if you like that, yeah. So I'll play it for you sometime. So you can hear how beautiful it is, man. E minor is definitely, there's something about that range of the like the D's and the E's and F's in that range I do like. But yeah, man. So
I love it, man. And I didn't know you were into Final Fantasy VII like that. We never talked about video games at that time back in the day. You know that? I think it's one thing we skipped.
Yeah, no, I played the 7 for PlayStation 1, and I beat it with the strategy guide. So what happens is, because I was stuck on the book and making sure that I passed the levels, I didn't actually remember a lot of it. but I did remember loving that game for sure.
The music was beautiful.
Oh yeah. One of these days, maybe we can do an improvisation on it, like some kind of slow improv. I'm telling you, man, we got a jam. Next time I go to Miami, I don't visit often because, well, naturally now because of Corona.
Yeah, nobody visits any fucking thing, right? Not even the restaurant down the street, you know. No, I'm with you, bro, and we'll keep it completely safe here, folks. We'll be 6 feet apart, wearing masks, and we'll give each other a hand job with masks on. I'm just kidding, but
just separated the rest, man. You were dropping these jokes before we even knew what hand jobs were. Like for a lot of people, you were the glossary. Like people would be like, hey, I don't start saying hand job. What's hand job?
I'm not gonna lie, I think that's always been one thing maybe I'm not proud of in my life, but I think that's one thing that people have kind of like mentioned to me, that I am kind of a bad influence, man. God damn it. Maybe not now.
You were the pervert before we knew what a pervert was. Like, you had all
Dude,
these
it's so true.
You were so ahead of your time. You were so ahead of your time.
I don't know about ahead of my time, but I definitely was a pervert at that time. I was just like obsessed, dude. I was to me, like, maybe we don't have to dive so deep into this, but at the same time, dude, to me, like, I don't know, man. Sex and attraction was such an interesting language to me at that time as a child, as somebody who's at that age, and you're kind of learning that, you know, at some point there's more to these friendships and these relationships, and
right?
there's
bro. What
people
horrific
look at you
whole time.
And it wasn't just that, it was seeing people, because me, like I said, you inspired me to lose a lot of weight, dude. You inspired me to do like a fucking makeover. I'm not kidding.
I still don't know how I inspired that.
Oh yeah.
We went far off.
Sorry. Well, I was saying earlier is that we were at Main Street one day, and this girl came up to me, and I was super stoked, and she told me that you know, my friend was cute. My friend ended up being fucking you, and a few feet away from me. And at that point, I realized I was this fucking secondary character in my own story, and I was like, you know what? We're gonna fucking change the narrative today. And you know what? And it wasn't just all that. Like I realized I was kind of just not. But
you were never overweight, were you, bro?
I was, dude. I was almost 200. I was almost 200 pounds. You couldn't tell because I used to wear really baggy clothes, but I was literally 198.
Get the fuck out of here! I never remembered you being like a big person. Ever.
I guess it was just the large T-shirts and the baggy jeans that were so popular at the time. You know, dude, my fucking dude, if my fucking thighs rubbed together anymore, I could probably start a goddamn Boy Scout fire, dude. It was unbelievable. And dude, yeah, I was big at that time. And yeah, this girl came up to me and kind of killed my confidence, and I realized I gotta. It's not like I sold myself out. It's just that I looked at myself and I realized I don't look happy. Like, I look miserable. Like, I was like, you know, this weight that I have on myself. I have this weird haircut on me. You know, like, this haircut is just, I just don't look happy. And then guess what? Yeah, like my mom didn't drive at the time. My dad was out of the country at the time, so we had to walk to get our groceries in the hot-ass Miami sun, and that helped me lose a shitload of weight. And I stopped drinking soda because of that. I just started eating better. And, dude, I lost 60 pounds in about a year, and when I came back from 6th to 7th grade, everybody looked at me like, what the fuck happened to you? They were like...
I never knew that.
Yeah, and you know what? It was at that point that I realized, you know... I think that's what we were talking about earlier, is that with these relationships with people, is that you come back after the summer, and then people, they don't tell you that you look good. They just say, wow, bro, you lost a lot of weight. You know, because they don't want to tell you look nice. They just tell you, like, wow, like, you look different. You look, because, you know, we're all children. Girls don't want to tell a guy, hey, you look nice now. Like, what the fuck? So, I don't know. It was just, at that time, we were just absorbing so much and seeing that people... Like, I looked happier maybe when I lost that weight. Maybe I looked, maybe I felt more comfy.
dude, I just always pictured you the way you are now, man. You know?
Well, now I'm 150. It's like that, or I believe I haven't weighed myself in a while, but I'm around 150 now. So I guess I tried to maintain that my entire life after that point. But dude, you helped me get there, bro. And I know we've never, over these 15, 16 years, we never had a chance to have that conversation. But dude, you have a huge part of my life. And when it comes to podcasting, you're another big part of that life. When it comes to music, you're another big part of that life. When it comes to my social interactions with my friends, and when people tell me I'm funny, dude, you have something to do with that, because we help practice our humor on each other. And
I swear, yeah. I still think we're rusty, but hey, man, we're better than when before we met. You know, that's what's important. Like I said, practice. This is all an episode about perseverance and practice, man. Just whatever it is, just go for it, man. Fuck it. Like honestly, look at me. I look like this 3 months ago. None of this existed. Like this wall was white. This wall was white. I didn't know
really.
But yeah, bro, these t-shirts. Look at this, bro. I look like a fucking.
And they look great. You play Rocket League by any chance? The video game?
Never played it. I've never played a single game of Rocket League.
It's soccer with cars, but
I've watched it plenty.
And the logo, it's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite games of all time. And yeah, the logo reminds me of it very much. And it's just, I love it. It makes me just want to. Yeah, it's on PS4. It's on PC. It's on the Nintendo Switch. I have a PS4. I mostly play on PC these days, because
I play League of Legends.
Oh, okay. The lovely Claudia loves that game. I got to get more into that. We gotta game it up sometime.
Which one?
League of Legends.
League of Legends.
He heard you say which one?
Tell her League of Legends. Ask her. Does she know League of Legends for real?
Yeah, it was funny because she was having trouble with some laptop of hers, and I opened it up, and there was all these League of Legends shortcuts on the desktop, and I was like, "Oh, you play LOL?" She was like, "Yeah, man."
Dude, you gotta try it. That's one of my favorite. If you like, yours is Rocket League, mine is League of Legends for sure.
Sick, man. We definitely got to try that, brother. And I'm excited to, do you have any plans to come visit Miami anytime soon, man? Can we expect a live episode with you at any point?
Dude, I hope so, man. I don't know. We're seeing a second wave in Florida, right? Now there's a big ass wave where you're all at.
Yeah, that's what they say. It's a lot of people out here are so ridiculous.
It's a 20-hour drive. It's a 20.
Holy moly! Oh, you know what? You're right. Because one time I tried to see how far my buddy was, and yeah, it was 19 hours. It was definitely up there. It was, and I don't know where exactly you are. I think he's like by Fort Wayne or something like that.
Fort Wayne, dude, that's 30 minutes down.
Yeah, he's right around that area, I believe.
See that?
Yeah, I believe he's right around there.
You kind of recalled. You see that at the beginning of the episode. You didn't remember where he's at.
Yeah, no, the name I was
Fort Wayne out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's got to be Fort Wayne.
I don't remember it. Oh shit, it's Fort Wayne. Yeah. So just to give you context, we're 30 minutes from Fort Wayne. Like I could.
Oh, sick.
He does sound familiar. You know that Jose guy.
You definitely talk to him, and even he knows Carmen from everybody from back in the day, and I'm sure you remember Maria. We're not gonna drop her last name, but I remember Maria from back in the day.
I actually reconnected with her recently because I don't know if you've seen, but I had Raul on my show. He's my fight companion.
Raul, the coolest cat ever, man. Yes, man. Shout out to Raul as it gets. If you guys want to follow him, he was on Danny's latest episode of the show.
Oh yeah, latest too. He's in my fight companion. So whenever, like tomorrow, we're dropping an episode on the fight card. This Saturday, it's free on ESPN. If you'd like to introduce yourself to a new sport, you already know it's Saturday 8:00 ESPN. It's one of the new Vegas. So what the UFC is doing, no audience, obviously. Have you seen any of these fights with no audience? They're really eerie.
It's too creepy, dude. It's too creepy for me. I can't like. It's gonna be disturbing. Like I'm gonna need I'm gonna need the equivalent of a laugh track on a sitcom of an audience shouting.
Yeah, man. Well, we had a UFC fighter on my show. He made the same joke. We need like.
Did he? Wow. I gotta work on my originality. Fuck.
Oh no, dude. No, come on, man.
No. That's just me trying to salt the joke. It's me twisting it a little bit.
Well, yeah, man. Oh, so yeah, Raul has a lot of experience in martial arts as well, and he makes for a very, very good companion. Because a lot of times, although we've trained martial arts, he's done more than I have, and we have different outlooks on fighting, and it's a fun time, man. So anyway, Maria saw that and she hit me up. She's like, "Oh my God, it's so cute to see this." And honestly, there's a bittersweet moment that happened there because I'm like, "Wow, like it's Maria, but wow." Like it's a lot of times past, dude.
A lot of time, man. And congratulations to Maria and her beautiful children. They are all beautiful. God. Congratulations on everything. I'm happy to see us all growing and all following our own paths, man. And I know we're about an hour and 40 minutes into this episode, so we're gonna. I can't believe that much time has passed. It literally feels like 35 minutes. Like I just don't. Time just flies, man. And man, you sent me on this amazing journey today. And it's funny. Before we did the show, and I've been thinking about it all day. or for the last few days, I've been going through all these thoughts in my head. Like, I can't wait to bring this up and just release it out into the universe, man, and just see you grab onto it. And then it's a beautiful thing, dude. I love what podcasting is able to do for us as people, us as friends, us as humans.
I agree. 100%.
You know, and I hope to have you on very soon, my man. And
dude, I'll visit as many times, and there's a lot of things we didn't talk about growing up and things like that we can always hit up. Other stories that we've got locked up. So man, there's still a lot of shit to unpack, and
we need a part 2.
And we can even do like breakdowns of music that we like and see what we can come up with on the spot.
Everything. We're gonna brainstorm, brother. We're gonna brainstorm. Trust me. There's some fun stuff coming, dude. And there's some very fun stuff coming these days. I'm telling you,
like, man, really appreciate it, man. Really, yeah. We got it, man. We got it here, and like I said, I really appreciate it. You know, since I'm here on Shut Up, Let's Talk. Actually, it's Shut Up, Let's Talk that has actually been an inspiration to me as well. So seeing how you do the background and all that. So again, guys, thank you so much for having Alizar for real. We are Game On. Wait, hold on. I reversed my screen. We are the
Game On podcast,
a sports podcast for everyone. I do Fight On. Go to our YouTube channel, check it out. Game On. Well, we got some UFC fighter talk, MMA if you like it. Thanks for the fucking amazing time, bro. I could be here for another 45 to maybe just 45 minutes.
No, honestly, I know this is one of those episodes that I could keep it going forever. Like I
do you think it's late? We get it, man.
Not even in my favorite episodes, dude, and it's with a lot of guests I've had. My favorite episodes are the ones that I know I have to quit because the people deserve a part 2. Like I want those people. I want the people to listen to this one and just linger for that next one. It's just
hour 40 is too much. We're good.
Yeah, dude. When I listen to other shows, those are my favorite episodes where the time just goes by, man. And
yeah, we can talk more about we can get a little deeper into societal shit. I know there's a lot of weird world going on. We can talk about maybe other things and other podcasts we like to listen to, and just like maybe we can get into more like what we think about life and different aspects of society and its issues today and shit like that. If you want to get deep and keep it funny, there's a lot to pick on in the world, man. So many things to make fun of.
I'm with you, man.
Bro.
I'm with you, brother. And maybe let me know whenever you'd like me to be on your show, and I'd be honored to be on there. You know, I'm not much of a sports cat, but I'll do whatever. I'll do the best I can from the sports ball that I know. Excuse me. And it's not that. It's funny. I recently, and it's funny because Tommy is in the live studio audience at the moment. I recently got into sports about maybe 4 years ago when the Heat started winning championships. And Tommy used to come over and we used to watch the Heat games. I never cared as much, and I realized that I like watching sports with somebody there. Watching it alone, for me, I don't get a thrill out of it. Watching it with somebody else and being like, holy shit, did you fucking see that? And that whole engagement of it, that's what draws me into sports. Is it's kind of like you're in the crowd. Well, it's the reason that we want the crowds in this fight. And like, an amazing fight without the crowd energy, like the experience, man. Like at the end of the day, going to the movies alone. Why don't you like doing that? Although I did it, actually, we'll get into that in another episode. I actually did this thing called movie reviews, and I would go to the movies right after school. I went to college. When I first started college, I had no friends. I had class from like 8 to 11:30 every day, Monday through Friday. So like by noon, 12:30, I was at Main Street by myself watching movies and actually like writing critiques for them, just for a hobby, just because I was full of myself and I thought that the world cared about what I said. One of my reviews actually made it to like the top reviewed user on Yahoo. Like if you went to the main page of the movies back when Yahoo Movies was a real thing, dude, that was a big thing. I used to check out all the movies there. What film was it for, if you remember? Don't tell me it was like 50 First Dates.
It was this horror movie called Turistas. It was super random.
Holy shit!
Dude, do you remember that shit? It was weird, but it was
the name just hit me.
Turistas. It was a horrible movie. But again, I would watch it all just because I would go every fucking day. I would go every day to the movies.
God damn it.
So anyway, just to say, there's a lot to talk about. And
I know, man. I'm telling you, I'm gonna hit you up about some fun ideas in the future, man. Because I'm telling you, I think me and you we could talk day and night, brother. So, what up? Hello. Anyway, man, guys, if you guys want to follow Danny Miami, feel free to follow him on GameOn, a sports podcast for everybody. He handles the UFC section, the MMA, the fight 'em up boom booms of the podcast.
On Instagram, it's at Studio, the letter Z, and then the numbers 87. Studio Z87. I post all kinds of weird shit.
Hashtag balls from the bend.
Yes, sir.
And it's funny, there's a local bar in this area of Miami Lakes, which I'm sure you're very familiar with, called The Bend. It is the new bar that all the homies in Miami Lakes go to. It is our local bar. It is our local watering hole when you come down to visit, and it's hopefully we're going there. The bartenders are dope. The drinks are good. It's called The Bend. I find it very ironic, and I love it, man. Anyway, folks. Anyway, folks, guys, feel free to follow Danny. Follow the podcast, please. If you guys want to follow me, it's at @AlazarChan. If you guys want to follow the show, it's at ShutUpLetsTalk all over the internet, the interweb, the webosphere, the globus, whatever. In the meantime, folks, love, peace, chicken grease. Look both ways before you cross the goddamn street. We will catch you on the flip side, folks. Later.